first expert talk at the third day of HR Week conference. I'm delighted to introduce Katarina Sonjic. She is in charge of employer brand in the Zulke company, and she has been in this field for 3 years now. She's a founder of HR Putak community, and she's also an active member of HipSpace, an IT community developing tech and entrepreneurship environment in Serbia. She graduated from the Faculty of Organizational Sciences in the management department. Katarina is also sharing her thoughts and tricks at catoncoffee.com. Cat is with K. Welcome, Katarina.
Thank you, Jovana.
Very nice to have you here with us. I will let you introduce your guest, and I'll be off now.
So, hello everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you today, and I'm even more happy and excited to have Ana as someone I can share my thoughts with. So, just a short introduction. Named one of the most influential CMOs by Forbes, Ana is a strategy executive and author of The Business of Aspiration. She specializes in building brand-driven modern businesses, and she likes to say, my job is to guide companies to capitalize on shifting consumer values. Hello, Ana, and welcome.
Hi, it's great to see you.
You too. I'm so happy to have you here. Of course. So our topic for today is brand, what it actually means to have a valuable brand, and how some of Ana's concepts we can connect with employer branding. So since we have 20 minutes only, I will jump straight to some questions I've prepared for today. So Ana, aspirational economy, one of your main topics for this year. Could you give us more insights about what it's all about and how we can create aspirational brands actually?
Right. So aspirational economy is kind of evolution of economic framework that asks how consumers spend their time and their money and what their value today. And that's framed within new status signaling that is applicable to the workplace as well, in the sense that now taste and curation and collaborations and micro communities take precedence over accumulation of products and conspicuous consumption. So it's more, the status is more signaled through one's taste and knowledge and access rather through sheer purchasing power and ability to buy luxury brands.
And in order to create such brand, what should we do?
Where do I start?
We have less than 15 minutes now.
Yeah, we don't have enough time.
Yeah.
I think that's a great question, and the starting point for brands is also part of the wider economic system and how they're set up, because all brands and companies, as you know, are set up around efficiency, around value chains that are organized around manufacturing, and around value-adding activities that are organized around products. So everything they do is about adding value to products. It's like, buy this product and you're going to, look younger, prettier, whatnot, And now we're questioning that model and the questioning of efficiency above all, which is very applicable about how workplace is organized. Who do you hire? How does the process look like? Do you invest in centralized or decentralized management, and so on? So what I'm looking at with my book, The Business of Aspiration, and overall with aspirational economy, is basically how the business that's shifted from manufacturing products is now shifting to manufacturing aspiration. That means, like, how do you create a community? How do you curate culture? How do you collaborate with other brands and partners in society to create value that is not only economic, but it's also social and cultural and environmental?
So it's more than just a product or a service. It's the value we are giving to the community and to all people we are connected with. So when you say...
sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. So when you say value, and what actually makes one brand valuable long term, what could you say about this?
Yeah, so that, like, I wanted to add this entire value system that you put forward, because
Mm-hmm.
all brands are value systems at the end of the day, and they have their core mission. Why do they exist in the world? What business they're really in? How do they make money? Because at the end of the day, these are economic and social and cultural and environmental entities, not just economic, but economic is part of it. So they need to make money, and this
Mm-hmm.
value system is about how they make money, and how they not only make money, which is one way to evaluate one's success, like GDP is one way to evaluate success, but after coronavirus pandemic happened, it's kind of like, well, it's also about the robustness of the health system, it's all about infrastructure that the country has. And now we are looking at other measures of society's development, which is happiness of its residents, the health, and so on. So when you look at like that, the companies or brands, the one value system is economic, they're making money. But the other one is, what are they doing for their local communities? What are they doing for societies? What kind of environmental footprint are they leaving? Are they contributing to culture in any significant way? And all of that is connected with brands' behaviors and actions. And again, the main shift is that we are looking at brands not just a logo put on a company, but more of as an entire value system that is aligned with all those multiple value systems that I brought up. So evaluative criteria of a success of a brand is on all those levels, on the cultural, social, economic, environmental level.
Mm-hmm. And of course, employees are such an important part of all of this. And in order to achieve all of this, we should, of course, employ people who are a true match for us. And that is extremely important for HR community that is actually listening for us now. And I wanted to ask you, so you are working with companies who want to improve their brand to the core. We are talking about some big changes and big challenges. So what can you say about it, and what are the biggest challenges you've faced so far?
The biggest challenges are multiple. It's always a challenge to, like, what I'm now doing. What I realized recently is hiring not a person for the role, but adjusting the role to the person. So hiring generalists and not specialists, because in the course of my career, and especially CMO, I realized that I can teach the team
Mm-hmm.
anything except motivation and self-motivation and drive and that hunger. And you want people who are hungry to learn, who are hungry to kind of be part of it, who are asking themselves, what can I do to move the vision and the mission of this organization forward? What I can do now to help others do their job better. So that is immediately a different starting point than having different hierarchies and organizational charts and slots that you need to fill. Of course, you do need to have some idea of collaboration and how is that organized. But what coronavirus pandemic taught us, and with the shutdowns and with a lot of small businesses that I spoke with during the course of writing my book and my video series and newsletter, is that those that were able to quickly reshuffle their organizational structure and to quickly redeploy people and adjust themselves were those who were better positioned to
Mm-hmm.
survive. For example, there was like a beer brewery, and of course, there was no indoor or outdoor dining, and how quickly they managed to change the bartenders into those who are like packing orders and shipping them and having a little like delivery operation and so on. So the most important thing is that there is that core mission, and that's the hardest thing to establish, and the North Star that everyone is working towards. And how they get there, to me, was never important as a manager, and I was always looking for people to teach me how to get from point A to point B. It's important to have common direction, but how that happens is it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm. Great. I'm happy, very happy to hear that. But when it comes to employing this type of talents, um, what are the most important things they like to hear and get from employer, like maybe benefits or surrounding or culture, whatever you can maybe say?
I think you have to kind of motivate them. You have to inspire them. And that is where you see if someone gets very excited about the potential and can't wait to start working, then it's again it's an intersection between self-motivation and inspiration, because the person who is self-motivated, they're going to do well anywhere. They're going to find something that they're passionate about in any job. And I think it's like really tapping into people's passions. And also, like, when you look at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you really need to like help them across all of those layers. And I'm a big believer in fair compensation, because I don't believe like, oh, you get like money and exposure, like you don't get money, you get exposure, or you get like to be part of our brand. And I don't believe in that. I think that people should expect and demand to be paid fairly on the market value of what they bring in. And also it's a plus if they find a culture that is a great fit for them, because all organizations like families are crazy. You just need to find your crazy. That is where the fit is. Don't look at the good stuff. Look how much you can tolerate the bad stuff. That's like in marriage.
Thank you for these insights. Another opportunity for us to think about the benefits and how we approach talents. So another concept you are frequently talking about is identity network, and that's something I really, really loved when I heard it for the first time. So can you maybe please explain it a bit more, and why is it relevant for this year?
It's relevant for this year, but I came up for it like a couple of years ago, and it's relevant for, I think, overall consumer behavior, but also organizational behavior. And what I mean by identity network is looking at psychographics and values and beliefs and actions and behaviors or identities of people that create a community. Because very often in marketing, traditionally, it was always some psychographics, some demographics, some geographic, regions, and so on. And it's not about what connects us in terms of taste. You and I can be different generations. We can live in different countries. We can have a completely different job trajectories, families, and so on, but we can share a taste. And in that sense, those taste communities are the unit of marketing. It's not an individual, it's the network and relationship that individual has, because those influence us. We make decisions based on other people, based on groups we belong to. And in terms of employees and employers themselves, they need to create sort of like what kind of identity we have as a brand, as a company, and how is that identity aligned? How do we help both our employees reflect that identity, and how do we communicate that to our different taste communities in terms of audience, and how do we help them identify with, do we provide them ammunition to express their own identity? It's a different conversation. It's not conversation about communication. It's about, again, value system and behaviors.
Great. I love that. It connects with everything we should do. And I think like bringing value to and actually communicating clearly to all stakeholders that you are having some touch with. Like, for example, when we have candidates on our interviews, even if they don't pass by the end, if they don't become our employees, we really should think about their experience, and also because, yeah, they're part of our network, of course. So Ana, last question.
Sure.
Did you want to add something?
I just wanted to say that's the most important thing is that network building, because you never know, like things change very quickly, and you always want to leave people feeling good about themselves. There's no, even if they don't get a job, and it's very clear that it's all about, it's not personal. People take it very personal. So main thing is to ensure them it's not personal, that they're fantastic, they're great, their skill sets are great, and that their life is long and you don't know what's going to happen around the corner. So best is to stay in touch, and that is, your network is your capital.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree. So since we have 4 minutes left, I have this last question for today that is very interesting for all of us here. And it's regarding the brand of HR function. So we want to put a spotlight on HR as a strategic business function. So by your opinion, what should we do in order to achieve this huge goal?
To what is the question? To how do you be more strategic, or how do you evolve this function?
The question is more of like, what should we do to be branded as a strategic business function so people perceive us as a strategic business function?
Right. I think you should focus on several pillars, because I think that HR is very often very narrowly defined. And I think that HR and talent management are those that are sort of the hub of how culture is implemented, because it's very nice to have like executive team and their vision, but how do you actually implemented day to day is something that resides on all employees, and then HR is someone who is the closest to those employees at all times, in addition to their managers. So I think like how you should brand yourself is like empathy comes first, and people come first. It's not about you. It's like very often it's perceived, at least here in New York, is that HR works for your employer. So you can't be honest with HR. That's something you can learn easy way or the hard way, but it's always the truth. And I think it's very important to really demonstrate, to hire the right talent for HR, because usually like with everything, like people go in HR without really loving other people, without really caring, without really wanting to advance other people. So I think the branding is continuous evolution, continuous learning, continuous empathy. These are some of the pillars, and then you can have like set of actions. How do you implement each of those?
Great. I love this one too. And do you maybe want to add something to this conversation? We are over with all of the questions I've prepared. Maybe if we have something from the audience.
Yeah, I want to add one more thing that is important in branding is that you position yourself as strategic partners to your employees. And that needs to be clear from day one. And it doesn't mean like check-ins, hey, how are you doing? It's more about what are their career goals in 3, 6, 9, 12 months. How are you going to evaluate that together? So if you position your strategic partner to 500 people, that's going to look very different than when you say, oh, I'm just an HR. And of course, you won't be able to be so close with 500 people, but that's why you have a teams, that's why you have a ways to operationalize that progression on the career path.
Thank you, Anna, very much.